In recent years, the Chinese economy has faced a wave of recession across all sectors, especially due to sharp fluctuations in the real estate market and the anti-impoverishment trend of the middle class. These economic phenomena not only affect the accumulation of personal wealth, but also profoundly change the social structure and the government's policy direction. Mingju Zheng, Professor Emeritus of the Department of Political Science at National Taiwan University, revealed the root causes of this series of problems through an in-depth analysis of China's current economic difficulties and offered important insights into their future political and social impact. He explored the nature of China's economic problems and their impact on future development from four main aspects: the real estate market crisis, the shift in economic policies, the influence of the external environment, and social unrest and political implications. Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Fund, pointed out 7 major concerns when analyzing the Chinese economy. Real estate market crisis. China's real estate market is experiencing falling prices and overdevelopment, putting family wealth that relies heavily on real estate at huge risk. Government fiscal dilemma. Local government finances rely on land transfer fees and real estate income. The sluggish real estate market has exacerbated local fiscal pressures. Changes in the concept of getting rich is glorious. Deng Xiaoping's concept of getting rich is glorious has gradually weakened and been replaced by the common prosperity policy, which has suppressed market vitality. Unstable property rights protection. Insufficient protection of property rights has made entrepreneurs and investors lack confidence in the future economic environment, resulting in a decline in their willingness to invest. Dilemma of technological innovation. Although China has outstanding performance in the number of patents, it struggles to market innovative results, and excessive government intervention has limited the economic benefits of technological innovation. Long-term stagnation risk. China's current economic predicament is similar to the lost 30 years that followed the bursting of the Japanese economic bubble in the 1990s, facing the risk of long-term stagnation. Unclear prospects for foreign investment. While investing in China still yields returns, investors need to be more cautious. Foreign investment confidence in the Chinese market has begun to decline, necessitating an appropriate adjustment in the investment ratio. Real estate market crisis and the anti-impoverishment of the middle class. Mingju Zheng stated in the YouTube program, Political and Economic Frontline, that China's real estate market was once the engine of economic growth, but its decline in recent years has put many investors and the middle class in jeopardy. Real estate prices rose sharply for a time, causing many families to invest most of their wealth in real estate. However, as the real estate bubble burst, housing prices began to fall, prompting many local governments to introduce policies restricting the sale of real estate. Owners cannot mitigate losses by selling properties and still need to continue repaying their loans. This restriction on sales may stabilize the market in the short term, but in the long run, it greatly suppresses the normal operation of the market and distorts the supply-demand relationship. The middle class is the primary force in the consumer market, and their financial pressure directly affects the consumption capacity of the entire economy. When housing prices fall, assets shrink, and wages decline, or even unemployment occurs, many middle-class individuals are compelled to cut back on their daily expenses. Mingju Zheng pointed out that if this phenomenon continues to develop, it will lead to widespread impoverishment of the middle class and a regression of social classes. The middle class, originally a stabilizing factor in the economy, will see increased social contradictions and dissatisfaction as their wealth diminishes significantly and their quality of life declines sharply. The financial difficulties of local governments have further exacerbated the crisis in the real estate market. Previously, local governments relied on land transfer fees as a primary source of fiscal revenue. However, with the sluggish real estate market, land sales have become more challenging, leading to a significant drop in local fiscal revenue. This not only affects the daily operations of local governments, but also limits their capacity to promote economic development. To maintain fiscal revenue, local governments often choose to further develop real estate projects, creating a vicious cycle. Additionally, the problem of excessive infrastructure construction has come to the forefront. In recent years, China has built a large number of high-speed railways, airports, and other infrastructure. While this has temporarily boosted GDP, many projects have not yielded actual economic benefits, resulting in a plethora of idle mosquito stations. This overinvestment and ineffective construction have burdened local governments with heavy debts, further exacerbating their fiscal dilemmas. The change in the concept of getting rich is glorious, and the lack of property rights protection. The concept of getting rich is glorious, proposed during the Deng Xiaoping era, once propelled Chinese society towards marketization and modernization, encouraging individual entrepreneurship and wealth accumulation. However, this concept has gradually weakened in recent years, and the Common Prosperity Policy introduced by the Xi Jinping government has placed greater emphasis on the redistribution of social wealth. Although this policy aims to narrow the gap between the rich and the poor, it has also raised concerns about the decline in market vitality. Ming Zhuzheng emphasized that property rights protection is one of the foundations for promoting economic development. In a market economy, entrepreneurs and investors need clear property rights protection to ensure that their wealth and investments are not threatened by arbitrary policy changes or government intervention. However, in China, the lack of property rights protection has caused many entrepreneurs to lose confidence in the future economic environment. Frequent government intervention in private enterprises, especially in terms of taxation and supervision, has further dampened enterprise enthusiasm. In recent years, many successful entrepreneurs and company executives have chosen to transfer their assets overseas to avoid the increasingly harsh economic environment in China. This trend has not only weakened China's domestic innovation and competitiveness, but also made economic growth face greater uncertainty. In addition, the government's excessive intervention in the field of science and technology has also put innovative enterprises under great pressure. Although the number of patents in China has increased year by year, the proportion of these patents that can be converted into actual economic results is relatively low. This phenomenon reflects that the policy orientation of excessive pursuit of quantity and neglect of market demand has hindered the role of scientific and technological innovation in driving the economy. The impact of the external environment and the future of China's economy. Ming Zhuzheng believes that, in addition to domestic economic problems, China is also facing increasingly severe international environmental pressures. The continuation of the Sino-US trade war has dealt a heavy blow to China's export-oriented economy. Since the outbreak of the trade war in 2018, the United States has imposed tariffs on a number of Chinese products, limiting the overseas market space for Chinese companies. This has not only frustrated China's exports, but also forced many manufacturing companies to relocate production to other countries with lower costs, such as Vietnam and India. The technological competition between China and the United States is also one of the major challenges facing the Chinese economy. The United States has implemented several restrictive measures to limit China's access to advanced semiconductors, communication technologies, and other high-tech products. This technological blockade has exacerbated the development difficulties of China's high-tech industry, especially in fields such as 5G, artificial intelligence, and chip manufacturing, where Chinese companies are facing unprecedented pressure. In addition to the United States, European countries have also begun to adopt a more cautious trade policy towards China. Economic exchanges between the EU and China have always been an important part of globalization. However, in recent years, Europe has shown increasing concerns about China's market access and technology protection measures. As China implements a low-price competition strategy in the global market, many small and medium-sized enterprises in Europe have suffered a huge impact, prompting the EU to gradually strengthen its review and restrictions on Chinese imports. The withdrawal of foreign capital is also a severe challenge facing the Chinese economy. In recent years, an increasing number of foreign-funded enterprises have chosen to move their production lines from China to other countries. This trend has not only weakened China's position as the world factory, but also caused the Chinese economy to lose a significant amount of foreign exchange income and employment opportunities. Especially after China introduced a series of anti-espionage laws, data security laws, and other regulations, the trust of foreign-funded enterprises in the Chinese market has further declined. Social unrest and political impact. Economic problems often lead to deeper social and political unrest. Ming Zhuzheng pointed out that the economic base determines the superstructure, and the continued economic downturn will inevitably impact the social structure and political system. In recent years, dissatisfaction within Chinese society regarding government policies has gradually intensified, especially against the backdrop of slowing economic growth and the anti-poverty sentiment of the middle class. The people have begun to question the government's ability to manage the economy. Although the government's high-pressure policies have controlled social discontent to a certain extent, this suppression can only be temporary. When economic difficulties remain unresolved for a long time and social contradictions continue to accumulate, the pressure for political reform will inevitably emerge. Particularly in a centralized system like China, the continued deterioration of the economy may directly challenge the existing political system and lead to a crisis of legitimacy for the regime. Although the Common Prosperity Policy proposed by the Xi Jinping government has garnered short-term support from some, as the policy is implemented, people are gradually realizing that it is not a fundamental solution to the wealth gap. Against the backdrop of economic downturn, the readjustment of wealth distribution has further aggravated the operational pressure on enterprises and reduced the wealth creation capacity of society as a whole. In the long run, this policy will inevitably cause more social dissatisfaction, which may evolve into political issues. In addition, with the deterioration of the international environment and the reduction of foreign trade, the pressure on China's employment market is also increasing. The withdrawal of foreign-funded enterprises has caused many workers to lose their jobs, and domestic enterprises have also reduced recruitment and scaled back production in the context of the economic downturn. This situation poses significant challenges for the Chinese government in addressing employment issues, especially in rural areas and small to medium-sized cities, where rising unemployment rates may trigger more serious social unrest.